Hey YouTube, it's Oscar from Skinny Fat Transformation here, and today I'm going to talk about protein intake. So when I started training in 2007, I was eating a lot of protein. I was having whey protein powder maybe 3 times a day, and I was eating tuna and chicken breast all the time. And I cared so much about protein that I would even bring tuna and eggs with me to school so I could eat more protein. And because I was eating all the protein, I always felt heavy and bloated and constipated, and I had a lot of digestive issues like many other people. But because I was so convinced about a high protein intake, I kept doing it for, I would say, about 2 years. And while eating all that protein, I was lifting heavy on the squat, bench press, and deadlift, and making all the typical mistakes we all do when we start training. And of course, after 2 years of training, I didn't look any different. Like, I had gained around 500 pounds on my bench press, squat, and deadlift combined. And I was eating around 200 grams of protein every day at a weight of 200 pounds. So I was following the 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, but I didn't get any results. And then I came across this book called How Much Protein by Brad Pilon, who's a famous nutritionist. And in the book, he said that he worked in the supplement industry for a very long time, and that there was actually no research backing up such high protein intakes. And then during a meeting, he asked the supplement company, like, why are we promoting all these protein powders if there's no research behind it? And basically all the claims we're making are fake. And then they basically just told him, like, okay, you should just be quiet and not talk about this, because they knew that you don't need to eat that much protein. And after reading this book, I was convinced that this might be my issue, that I was eating too much protein, and that's why I was always constipated, bloated, and feeling heavy. So I stopped eating protein, I stopped supplementing with protein shakes, and I reduced my protein intake around 2012. And I just started focusing on eating balanced meals. Like 2/3 of my plate would be carbohydrates, like starches and vegetables and fruits. And then 1/3 would be like proteins and fats, like eggs, nuts, or meat or fish. And after I did that, I felt much better. I was much lighter. I had less digestive issues, and I liked my workouts more because I had carbs. By eating less protein, I could eat more carbs, so I was feeling much more energized, and I could also focus on my work. And within a short amount of time, I noticed that I was actually gaining more muscle mass by eating a higher carb intake. My muscles always felt full when I was going into my workouts because they were full of glycogen from the carbs. I had more energy to train harder, so I could train on a high volume program, and I was actually starting to make very good gains around that time. And since then, I've just been around 100 to 130 grams of protein, and I've gained around 40 pounds of muscle mass all over my body. So I'm convinced that you don't need to eat that much protein, because for my clients, I also recommend around 0.5 to 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So it's not like I'm saying that you should completely stop eating protein and go, only eating plant-based foods. But I'm saying that you don't need to eat as much as the supplement companies they tell you to, because you have to remember that most of these supplement companies, their main product is protein powder. That's what they make the most money from. So they have a very big incentive to tell you that you need to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And when you are convinced that you need to eat such a big amount, you're going to try to first eat it through food, but then you find out it's very, very difficult to eat all the chicken breast, tuna, and so on that you need to get, let's say, 200 grams of protein. And then you start looking for supplements, and then you buy them every single month, and that means money goes out of your pocket and into the supplement company's pocket. So that's why supplement companies, they sponsor like all the biggest fitness stars and fitness events, and have many of the big bodybuilding sites write about their supplements, because you have to remember there's money in this supplement industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So they're sponsoring most of that stuff. So just because it's written on a bodybuilding site, or some very big guy with big muscles and a big following says you need a lot of protein, doesn't mean that it's actually true. And if you think about it, people have been building very big muscular physiques for hundreds of years, and I don't think they were caring about getting protein shakes 200 years ago. So there's really no need to eat all that protein. Just eat normal balanced meals 4 to 6 times per day. 1/3 of your plate should be protein and fat, and 2/3 should be starches and vegetables and fruits. And then don't think so much about protein, like ditch the protein shakes. Protein powder is basically whey protein powder. Is made out of is a byproduct of cheese. It's not a really high quality nutrition for you. It's just junk. You can get much better nutrition from real food. Instead of eating all the protein, like, replace some of it with vegetables and potatoes. These are much more nutritious for you anyways. And now I know that some of you are going to ask about post-workout protein, like, don't you need a shake very fast in your body because after a workout you broke down your muscles, so you need protein, right? The thing is, if you eat 4 to 6 meals per day and you eat consistently, you don't need to think about post-workout nutrition because you're always having food in your stomach. And it takes a while to digest protein. So if you eat, let's say, 2 hours before your workout, then you will still have protein in your system. You won't need to supplement with anything. Protein supplementation can work for some people, but it's only very specific cases. For example, I have a client who just doesn't like to eat meat. It's very hard for him to eat meat and eggs, and he's vegan. Like, he cannot eat meat and eggs in the first place. And it's kind of difficult to even reach, let's say, 0.6 grams of protein per pound of body weight for him because he's quite heavy. So what we do is we implemented just 1 protein shake per day. That's it. It's just 1 shake and that's all. But it's a very case-specific thing, you know. Most people don't need it. So don't worry about the protein. Just eat balanced meals and you will gain muscle. It's more about carbohydrates and your training. Eat enough carbs and train hard and the muscle will come.